For more than 1700 years, nobody knew exactly where it happened. Somewhere in a quiet river valley in northeastern Bulgaria, an entire Roman army walked into ground it should never have crossed. 2 emperors went in. Neither one came out. This is the story of the Battle of Abritus. Rome had lost battles before. Rome had lost armies before. But in almost 300 years of empire, no Roman emperor had ever been killed by a foreign enemy on the battlefield. In the summer of 251, that changed, and it changed because of a decision made in the last hours of a long, exhausting campaign, a decision that archaeologists in Bulgaria only fully understood after they found the field itself. His name was Trajan Decius. He became emperor in 249 AD, after defeating his predecessor in battle. The Senate gave him the name Trajan, after one of Rome's greatest soldier emperors, hoping he would live up to it. Decius inherited an empire under strain. And on the Danube frontier, in the province of Moesia, that strain was about to break wide open. A large, Gothic-led force crossed the river into Roman territory. Roman writers often called them Scythians, though modern historians generally describe the invaders as Goths and their allies. Their leader was a man named Cniva. At first, Decius held. He pushed the invaders back near Nicopolis at Istrum. But then the campaign turned. The Goths suffered a setback near Barrow, but the Roman army suffered one too, one bad enough to stop Decius from reaching the city of Philippopolis in time. The city fell. It was a catastrophe, and the Gothic army, now loaded with captives and plunder, began moving back toward the Danube, back toward home. Decius had one chance left. Catch them before they crossed the river. By early summer of 251, Decius and his son and co-emperor, Herennius Etruscus, were in pursuit. This was not just Decius's war anymore. His own son now shared the throne beside him, and shared the risk of this campaign too. The Roman army caught up with Cniva's forces near a Roman settlement called Abritus, in what is now the region around Razgrad, Bulgaria. Here is where the sources start to disagree on the smaller details. But the outline is consistent enough to trust. Cniva did not simply retreat. According to the ancient tradition, he positioned part of his force to draw the Romans forward, keeping other troops concealed near difficult, swampy ground. The Roman army engaged the visible Gothic line first, and by most accounts, they won that opening fight. That victory was the trap. What happened in the next few hours would end the reign of 2 emperors at once, and it would take modern archaeologists using coins, weapons, and tent pegs pulled from the mud to even confirm where it happened. We will get to that discovery. First, the battle itself. Roman soldiers pushed forward, chasing what looked like a broken enemy line. Then the ground changed under their feet. The exact sequence cannot be reconstructed with certainty. The sources are later and sometimes inconsistent, but the broad picture, supported by the terrain itself, points to Roman troops advancing into wet, difficult ground where their formation could not hold. Concealed Gothic forces struck from the flanks. The Roman line, packed together in the mud, could not maneuver and could not retreat cleanly. Herennius Etruscus, the emperor's son, was killed. Some later writers say he was struck by an arrow before the main fighting even reached its worst point. Other traditions place his death in the chaos of the final collapse. The sources disagree, so we cannot say for certain which is true. What almost every source agrees on is what came next. Decius, now watching the destruction of his own army and the death of his son, refused to fall back. He was killed on that field, along with most of the men who had followed him there. His body was never recovered. For centuries after, historians knew Abritus was somewhere near the Roman city of the same name, but nobody could point to the actual ground where an emperor and his son had died. That began to change in the 2010s. Bulgarian archaeologists surveyed an area roughly 15 kilometers northwest of Abritus, near the village of Dryanovets, in the valley of the Beli-Lom River. Locals call the site Polito, simply, the field. What they found there matched the ancient descriptions almost perfectly. Roman coins. Military tent pegs. fragments of weapons and armor, all concentrated in one place, all consistent with a Roman army that had made camp there and never left. Among the coins was something else, a small clay vessel, buried decades earlier at the site, containing around 30 gold coins ranging from the reign of Gordian III to the reign of Decius himself. Somewhere, in the final hours before the battle, someone hid that gold in the ground and never came back for it. That small buried hoard points towards something much larger. Numismatic researchers have traced Roman gold coins from this period turning up far outside the empire, in territory north of the Danube associated with Gothic and allied groups. The pattern has led some scholars to argue that the Goths may have captured a substantial part of the Roman imperial treasury at Abritus itself, gold that had been traveling with the emperor's army. This remains a debated hypothesis, not a settled fact. Not every coin can be traced directly back to this one battlefield. But the pattern is difficult to ignore. Roman gold, minted for emperors, ending up in the hands of the people who had just killed one. And back in Rome, the political cost was just beginning. With both emperors dead, the surviving Roman troops needed a new leader immediately. They chose Trajan Gallus, a commander who had been part of the campaign. Gallus made peace with the Goths. The terms allowed them to keep their plunder and their captives, and reportedly included an annual payment as well. In Rome, many saw this as humiliating. Some later writers connected Decius's death to his persecution of Christians earlier in his reign, treating it as a kind of divine punishment. That is a religious interpretation preserved in some ancient sources, not something that can be verified as the actual cause of what happened on the battlefield. What can be said with confidence is simpler, and in some ways more unsettling. An empire that had never lost an emperor to a foreign enemy suddenly had lost two, in a single afternoon, in a field most Romans had never heard of. The Roman Empire did not fall at Abritus. It survived for centuries afterward. But something changed there, in that quiet river valley. The idea that an emperor was untouchable died in that swamp along with Decius and his son. Today, the field is just farmland again. No monument marks it. The only proof of what happened there sat buried for over 1,700 years, until archaeologists finally dug it up, coin by coin, tent peg by tent peg. They found the place history had lost. What they still cannot fully answer is what really happened in those final, chaotic minutes, the minutes only the men who died there ever truly saw. If stories like this, the ones history almost lost, are the kind you want more of, subscribe, and stay for the next one.